Hey everyone. I'm going to talk about BDSM this week with a little help from my friend Kermit the Frog. Now, I've been talking about a really important trial in Canada involving radio personality Ghomeshi and multiple accusations against him of sexual assault relating to fetish lifestyles. The case should be of interest to all fans and/or practitioners of BDSM, and I want to address some claims made by both BDSM spokespeople, of whom I am not, and those who think that that lifestyle is unacceptable or abusive. I find the viewpoints from both sides to be extremely unhelpful. First of all, Ghomeshi was accused of punching women in the head while on the first date with them, then basically telling them to show themselves to the door. Claims have been made that this is how Ghomeshi got sexual pleasure. Yep, according to feminists, this story sounds totally legit. Ghomeshi would just have his orgasm later, maybe, or perhaps while he was punching them. I don't know. I can't get so lost in ideology that I buy this story for even a second, under any premise. In fact, when I heard this claim, I instantly knew the accusers were lying. Sandy Garrosino in the National Observer claims that, based on Gomeshi's Facebook post in which he admits to engaging in consensual BDSM, what's not in dispute is that he likes to hurt women for sexual pleasure. That's admitted. No, Sandy, it is not. Doms in BDSM engage in activities for both of their sexual pleasure. The word hurt doesn't accurately describe these activities. The Dom does most of the work. They have to design the scene and they have to set the tone and maintain it. The actions, some of which involve being hit with implements or hands, are only one part of the scene. The attitude is most important. The attitude of the sub is also important. While the dominant partner has a lot of responsibility, the submissive also has a duty to communicate clearly, and sometimes they don't do so because they don't want to break the scene. When that happens, it is a failure of the submissive. Things can and do go wrong in scenes, especially when one or more of the players are amateurs or inexperienced, or lying about their level of interest in the scene. One of the reasons I'd wager these disgruntled wannabe partners who are now accusing Ghomeshi of abuse got shown to the door is because they claimed they were hyped up for subplay and they were lying, just as they have lied under oath in court. Ghomeshi probably detected that they weren't actually into the roleplay and he stopped. This is how Lucy Ducater found herself sitting on Gomeshi's couch for an hour, listening to him play the guitar before she finally left. She said she was adventurous. Ghomeshi gave her a glimpse of what he does and quickly figured out that she was full of shit. Just to drive home how little Lucy understood about his lifestyle, the one she wanted into so badly, she emailed him just hours after their encounter that she couldn't wait to, quote, fuck his brains out tonight. Well, Lucy, subs don't fuck the brains out of doms. Subs wait to see what the dom has in store for them. Double fail. Epic fail. That's why she never got any more action out of Ghomeshi. Now, the main question for those who don't discount all BDSM as rape has been whether or not Gian did BDSM right. Was it safe, sane, and consensual? The BDSM community has soundly renounced Ghomeshi as not being legitimate. If he did what the women said, and remember, these women have been exposed as liars in a court of law. Regardless, I call bullshit on the BDSM community. They act like the saints of consent because of the legendary checklist of kink. We've all heard about it. There are a few versions, but they generally go like this. A list of fetish areas and boxes where you can decide where you fall between yes please and no, this is a hard limit. BDSM practitioners hold this up as exemplary of how much consent matters to them, but that is misleading. The checklist is not used by most people, and to some degree, it's a screening list. It's like a job application. That is function number 1. If they have hard limits on all the things you like, or need things that you don't enjoy, then you don't engage in play. That's step 1. The main function after the job application is the middle zone. You want to know where their maybes are, Those are the fun zones. BDSM is about testing boundaries. It's not just doing what you know. That would be boring. So for them to pretend that proper BDSM never has someone really pissed off the next morning is bullshit. The main difference is that you have an agreement to talk about it afterwards. While feminists claim that how these women behaved after means nothing, it just shows they don't understand BDSM. It's not a so-called rape myth, it's part of BDSM communication. In this relationship, if the women didn't give accurate feedback, they were the failures. They were the ones at fault. There are a number of BDSM spokespeople worried about the public perception of their lifestyle who will deny this, that things go honestly wrong. They've made claims about true BDSM that imply all people honestly practicing their fetishes don't have epic fails. Well, sex between humans is not simple. It's not perfect in vanilla life, and it's not perfect in kink life. It never will be. At least BDSM has expectations for honest communication. One of the items of complaint against Ghomeshi is that he didn't employ safe words. Sex-positive feminists are keen on this point. Safe words, safe words. He didn't ask them for a safe word. Well, we don't know if this is true or not, but I'd say he probably didn't establish safe words with the accusers because, in reality, safe words are usually not employed until you engage in intense scenes. And these women in court never got that far. Safe words and consent are the main harping points in this case, and I'd like to point something out about safe words. And this is really important for those people supporting the yes means yes consent culture crap. Safe words will never be either of these two words, no or stop. Why do you think that is? I'll give you a minute to think about that. Do 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 do. Yes, it's a sad day for all those crazy people who think that no means no. If no always meant no, then it would at least be an option for a safe word. That is not the case. This is one of the ways BDSM is superior. They don't lie about sex. Now, I want you to consider something. Forget about Jian Ghomeshi for a minute, and let us talk about rape or sexual assault trials in general, and recommendations being made regarding the legal system. I want you to start out thinking about a guy who didn't commit rape. Now ask yourself, how is he going to prove it? Feminists don't want men to be able to use behavior prior to the alleged assault or behavior afterwards as proof of consent. That leaves our innocent man with a narrow window of the actual moment. And if we must automatically believe the accusers, they'll need to have it on video to prove his innocence. How many women want themselves recorded on video every time they have sex? Now think about Ghomeshi. He would have had to record these women every moment they were in his presence, since they weren't even having sex at the time of the alleged assaults. That Ghomeshi miraculously had evidence that these women pursued him after their dates created outrage. How dare he be allowed to prove his innocence? In fact, if he'd had video of the event, he would have been villainized for filming them without their permission. So what is the future for innocent men if feminists have their way? We'd be stuck hoping that only guilty people find themselves in court. For the BDSM community, this is extra concerning because if a woman gets a bruise, feminists don't even care if she consented. I don't mean this is just concerning for men who are dominants. This is concerning for those women in the BDSM community who enjoy being whipped, spanked, slapped, or strapped to devices and fucked until they pass out. Nobody is going to want to do it anymore. Well, okay, it's sex, so people are still going to keep doing it, but it will be a lot harder to find a partner because what you're doing would be definitionally criminal. Now, we all know it's hard to meet a good sex partner, one that's compatible, and that's true for everyone, even when you're just looking for normal. When you're looking for a same-sex partner, it gets a little trickier because while you're flirting, you don't know for sure if they're gay or if they're bi. And if you're looking for a fetish partner, not only do you not know if they're fetish, you don't know if they share the same fetish or if they do that fetish in the same way. Now add to the problem that you're famous, like, say, Jian Ghomeshi. You need to find someone who's into your fetish, You can't give out too much detail because if they aren't into it, they might just take your checklist to the press. If you give them too much detail, even without any printed matter, they can still go to the press. If you even gesture the wrong way, they might write an article about what a creep you are in XOJane. So, how do you do it? How do you, a famous person, find your perfect fetish partner while also trying to keep your sex life private? What do you do when you go on a date with someone and they keep calling you later even though they aren't compatible with you? Do you keep her emails because she seems a little unstable? How do you deal with the fact that anyone you break up with might go on a rampage to destroy you, exchanging thousands of messages with other vindictive exes to make it happen? Well, you might just save all your messages for over 13 years. While a large portion of society doesn't understand or want to understand real BDSM culture, quite a few of them, mostly women, have enjoyed reading 50 Shades of Grey, and now they fashion themselves to be adventurous. They've heard about safe words and they think they're experts now on how this stuff is done in their fantasy world, and foist their delusions onto the world of real life. In real life, sometimes a badly aimed thrust goes in the wrong hole with no warning, and both parties are unhappy. Sometimes you experiment with candles and get burned. Sometimes you try a new position and hurt your back or break a rib. Oh, yeah, that reminds me. Some people keep going back to this anonymous person who apparently ended up in the hospital after dating Ghomeshi. We don't know if this happened because the woman is just saying it to the media and not to the police. It might be true, but keep in mind that a lot of people end up in the hospital because they consensually stuck something weird up their own ass. So those are my thoughts on what the general public should know about BDSM.